so I nick something.
You...
From the party.
Jesus, Debbie. We aren't nearly stopped then.
Give it a rest, Debs. We've all done it.
You, right? Well done for owning up, but don't try it again.
Definitely not if confessions are your strong point.
Now listen to me. No, listen to me. Faster we get information. What are you called? Come on, what are your names?
Jackie and Stuart.
Right, Jackie, Stuart. Believe me, faster we get information, faster we know what to do. Now, there's a team on the way and we need precise details. When did you last see Jodie?
12:30 in the garden.
Age?
3 next week.
Kid, up the street. Snatched. Dinner.
Oh, God help us.
Hey, Jodie. She was outside the gate. No one was watching.
Debbie, did she walk up to you and you just spotted her?
And you're happy that we found you when you were looking for your mum on the street and you'd no idea where she belongs, so you brought her here.
So that we could help you?
No, she had a party bag, John.
So why'd you take her?
She was crying for her mum. Where was her mum? Nobody cared.
They will now. Fuck's sake, this is all we need. Are you right in the bloody head?
Hey.
Oh!
Fiona, calm down, all right? Kids get lost all the time. We take her back. We'll take her back and we say...
We're going to take you home, aren't we, Jodie?
Hi, what's going on?
It's okay, Angela. Me and Ian were just having a laugh.
You still doing insurance claims, Lee?
What are you after?
I'm thinking. I wins March the 18th. Aerial goes through the roof.
For Christ's sake!
Sending water 2 floors down, that's 2 ceilings, 3 carpets, and an ICAM tower.
Do you know how much aerial weighs?
No.
I'd have to say the chimney went.
Chimney then, how much do you charge?
Right, 10 for the forms filling in, 20 when the claim's paid, plus labour for pretend rubber because you don't actually have a chimney.
Paul Abbott left the show. It was his baby. It was his life story, a skew on his life story. And so when he left, it sort of became... Well, it wasn't about it wasn't about anything, really, by the end. Anne-Marie Duff went on and did other things. She married James McAvoy whilst they were filming this. James McAvoy went off and did big things.
Lord King of Scotland.
The kids obviously grew up and went away and lost their sort of cuteness that all child actors have. They sort of went off and did their own thing, and it became less about the original family, the Gallaghers, and more about sort of the surrounding areas.
Tina Malone,
and even past that, you know. And there was some great groundbreaking, or in my eyes, some great groundbreaking stuff in there. Ian was a young gay character who was working with, in a corner shop run by...
Chris
Bisson, who was an Indian character. And they had a gay affair, and that was quite groundbreaking for me at the time.
I mean, I remember watching the first series and quite liking it, but I think I just sort of fell out of... It's not something that I ever carried on with, and as you say, it just sort of dragged on.
It's sad, because it's one of those shows that in its first 5 series, maybe even to the early part of 6, it was still one to watch and talk about, and then it just became like so many other shows before and after it, where, oh, is this still on? You know, and that's a shame. And I did tune in for the final episode, which was only a few years ago, where Anne-Marie Duff made a brief appearance, but its best years were behind it after Series 5 and certainly Series 6. But I just think it shone a light on a side of the UK which doesn't actually get shown a lot on telly, even now. Doesn't get a lot of showing on TV. Perhaps it does in documentaries, but certainly not in drama, the big budget dramas the BBC and ITV are making now. It was an era where Channel 4 were doing more of these comedic dramas, so it was on at the same sort of time as Teachers and other things, and Queer as Folk had not long finished, and so Channel 4 had cornered the market on that sort of thing. Gary never saw it ever?
Ew.
One day we have to do a whole podcast on this list of shows you've never seen. Is it a physical list you have a copy of?
There is a list of shows I want to see. This isn't on that.
No, I know it wouldn't be, but I'd love to know what is, because maybe Matt and I one day could go through them and say, well, you don't need to really see that. Focus on this.
All right, we'll sort it out one day.
So we're jumping from the 2004, 2008, all the way up to 2012, where I decided to put Line of Duty because it did start in 2012. I'm talking about all 3 series, but specifically the first series. I think it was just before the Olympics. And I was back in the UK knowing I was coming home, and I'd, via email in the US, been in contact with a lot of the BBC press officers. I didn't know what one was. I emailed one and it opened up a whole connection with these people. And I went round Television Centre in 2012 and met all these people. And there was a show on with Christopher Eccleston called Blackout, I remember. Yeah. And it was on the same week of Line of Duty. And this one press officer, who I shan't name because I think she still works at the BBC, was promoting both Blackout and Line of Duty. Hated Blackout and loved Line of Duty, and that hoped Blackout wouldn't do well and Line of Duty everyone would be talking about. And I remember the whole of the press office was talking about Line of Duty and how to get the word out and how it was one of the best dramas they've had to work on for such a long time. And for us to still be talking about it now, and again, it's not one we need to dwell on overly because we've done it over and over to death on our podcast, and it's on Matt and Gary's list. But I think whenever I watch it, I just think it's so clever. It's one of those shows that I think is just so clever.
It's smart, isn't it? Let's face it, one of the things that we all like about it is that you have to pay attention. It feels like you are more intelligent for knowing what's going on.
Yeah, you feel like you've spent an hour with somebody who's crafted this perfect show that doesn't explain anything to you, that you really have to be invested in, and you feel, when it finishes, like really satisfied and better off for seeing it. And the fact that we've got 2 more series that we know of to come is just brilliant. The fact that it's moving to BBC One worries me just a tiny bit, but maybe that's just my...
I can't see what will change moving it to BBC One, to be honest. I can't see what the creator and the style of the show will change, other than I think it will, more people will see it.
I mean, I've been editing Matt and Gary's list, and Gary calls it one of the best. Well, British drama at its best is what you referred to it. And it would be hard, even though you said it would be hard to find fault in that. I suppose the next one is sort of during that same trip, which was when I went to my first ever screening, and I was around people that I knew off the telly, but I'd never been in that room before. Well, Matt and Gary will both know, having been to these screenings, that what happens is you get ushered into a room. Everybody but you seems to know everybody else.
Yeah.
Apart from when Gary was in Endeavour.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I had a mobile phone, which was like a Tesco pay-as-you-go phone, because we were on holiday and I needed to contact people.
Were you the caddy?
Maybe it wasn't a burner phone. It was just a phone.
A Tesco burner phone.
Yeah. I decided, look, everybody knows one another. I just look like a real saddo over here in the corner. What I'll do is I'll pretend that I'm on the phone. So I did the thing of opening. It was a flip phone, I think, and I pretended to ring someone. And every now and again, when somebody would look over at me, I just go, yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, well, I will do that. And it was completely fictional. And then I remember it being really quiet, and at this point I was acting. I was in the role, and I was going, yeah, that'd be a good point. Well, call me afterwards. And the phone rang.
Nice.
And I jumped out my skin because I had it right near my ear. And I remember all the people turning around and looking at me, and I felt far, far worse than if I just sat there quietly. And I remember meeting one of the stars of the show and being covered in shortcake biscuit and thinking, this isn't going too well. The show's called Last Tango in Halifax, which again Gary refers to as the old people's show.
These are Luke's Desert Island Dramas.
Oi! Sorry, it's emergency!
Jeez!
Dad.
Gillian!
It was the most selfish, mindless piece of driving I have ever witnessed.
Oh, it won't be a minute, love, then you can have it.
You could see I'd got my reversing lights on. You could see I'd already started manoeuvring.
Yeah, well, if you keep your hair on, I'll be less than 60 seconds.
Idiot.
Snotty bitch.
You can let her talk to you like that?
Mum, you all right?
Fine.
This must be Alan.
Yes.
How'd you do on Caroline?
How'd you do?
Thank you for staying with her till I got here. We're going to have to go. Some brain-dead, low-life trailer trash stole my parking space.
And you've met my daughter.
Sorry?
Gillian, this is Celia. And Caroline.
Hello, Celia. I've heard a lot about you. I've met Caroline.
Right. The dramas that shaped us.
It was special to me because it was the first show I'd ever seen before anybody else. Normally I was seeing things after everybody else. It was a complete opposite to what I assumed it was going to be, and I think what a lot of people assumed it was going to be. I've seen Anne Reid several times since then, and she still remembers me and still comments on, oh, it's you from... Which is nice.
It's you
I
from
like
the Biscuits, man.
It's you, Biscuit Boy. Yeah. It's a show that even now people think they know what it is, and it isn't what people think it is. It isn't about old people in love at all. It's far more than that.
It's almost like a family drama, isn't it? Because they sort of focused on the daughters in the second series more, the Nicola Walker and Sarah
Lancashire.
Yeah,
and it's also quite dark.
And their relationships and their pasts and things like that, and the Anne Reid and Derek Jacobi characters almost became sort of secondary characters in a way, even though they were the impetus for everyone getting together. As you say, really well written, really well done, and just the characters you sort of gravitated towards, I think. And
the next one is one I know Matt's never really given much credence to. I know Gary hasn't really stuck with. My list is not coming out good for you two, but it is one that I remember being initially not bothered about, slowly bothered about, and then completely obsessed with. And it's the first time my views towards certain things changed, and that's Breaking Bad.
The dramas we couldn't live without. These are Luke's Desert Island Dramas.
I watched the first series of this due to peer pressure. Normally I don't go in for that. I say a show's for me or it isn't, but this was the sort of turning of going, well, so many people can't be wrong about one programme. There can't be just all this furore about a programme and it's just me that doesn't get it. So I decided to watch it, watched the whole first series and thought, yeah, but I'm not really that bothered about seeing where it goes. Then I watched the second and I was like, yes, it's growing on me, I like it. Then the third. By the time I got to the fourth series, I was trying to find reasons to watch it more and more and more. And I was trying to find gaps. I remember being up till midnight watching this and waking up early so I could it gets under your skin in a way that I don't think shows do. I mean, it really does get under your skin because it's a show much like another one I'm going to talk about in a moment, where the characters start off one way and develop into something else, and you've grown with them and you can't believe how these people have changed.
Do you know what would happen if I suddenly decided to stop going into work? A business big enough that it could be listed on the NASDAQ goes belly up. Disappears. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
These are Luke's Desert Island Dramas.
Oh, it really does get under your skin, and I keep going to re-watch it, because I've only watched it once, and I keep going to re-watch it and just thinking, what if I don't enjoy it as much the second time? Because somehow I managed to avoid all the spoilers and all the chat about it, and just watched it, on Netflix in one go. And I just remember thinking, wow, people were not wrong. And actually, more often than not, if people are raving about a show, unless it's, something obscure, then, all these people can't be wrong. And they're not. Breaking Bad is one of those shows that, if you've stuck with it, then it rewards you. It has a satisfying conclusion. I want to watch it now and not tell you what the final two shows are, because it's and it annoys. Well, it doesn't annoy me because again, there's no right and wrong answer.